Hey, what's going on, guys? I want to do another knife review for you. Me and Christine have been playing around with this one. This is a Walther knife, and these come from China. Comes with a fairly large box. You see this one here is called the BlackTac Tanto. It's got all the features there on the box. We'll talk about it a little bit. So we get into this here. And you can see, of course, the foam cutout from the knife and the sheath. It's like a gift set type thing. So first, we'll talk about the sheath here. All right, here's the sheath. You guys know I don't really use these sheaths. As far as the quality in this, it's actually not that bad. It's got a real thick, sturdy nylon here. It's like double layered. The stitching's fine on it. I just choose not to use sheaths like this. But you do have a nice couple different carry options on this. It comes with a cord you can use, but I just not, let me show you what it looks like in here. I prefer not to use the sheaths for pocket knives. But of course it does carry in here if you chose to do so. It's actually not that bad of a sheath. Of course, Walther logo on the front. As you guys should know by this point, Walther, the gun company, really has nothing to do with this knife. Just like a lot of their gun manufacturer knives. They basically just sell their logo to Chinese companies making these knives. But here it is. You can see it is a heavy-duty Tanto style blade. There's some things I definitely don't like about this, and this represents a lot of just generic Chinese knives. But there are some benefits and pros to this knife as well. I'll get some of the bad stuff right out of the way. First of all, it's very heavy. Very heavy. I got the little scale here to show you this. And I want to compare it to the Sheath. I think this is the 301. Yeah. SCH 301, which I reviewed. This thing's a beast. This knife weighs 10 ounces, 10.1 ounces. All right, but this is a good dedicated knife. Okay, perfect lockup, nice frame lock, a lot of blade here, usable steel. All right, it's different. I mean, this is way too heavy for most people, but this is a knife you can actually use. Whereas this one comes in. The hell? That's the squeaky toy. All right, this one comes in at 7.8 ounces. Poor Gus just wants to play this toy. 7.8 ounces. All right, so it's huge, it's chunky, but what are you getting for that? You're not getting, in my opinion, a very usable knife. Let me throw the pros out there first, actually, because there's less pros than cons on this one. The pro is it is a liner lock, but it locks up nice. It locks up really nice. I tried spine whack test on this. It didn't bend the liner or anything, so lockup is fine on this one. It's actually very smooth to open, but it's tight enough where you can't easily flick it open. I mean, if you use a thumb stud and use that, push forward and then out, you can still get that kind of action you want to throw it all the way out there and locked, which is fine. But it has a flipper on here, which is almost unusable. The design's fine. It's just you need a lot of wrist action with that flipper to get it out. And even then, you can see how it wants to drag. There's a lot of friction here. All right, and I would adjust the pivot if I could. You see, there's proprietary screws on both sides, so you'd have to get something pointy in there and get 2 points of contact to try to turn that. And I just don't like that. There's no simple screw on there, so it's not easy to adjust the pivot. And I don't want to play with the pivot because then it's going to get too loose. You need a lot of wrist to get that to fly open for you. All right, if that's not an issue for you, then it's not an issue for you. You can get it open nice and easy, and when moving it slowly, it is nice and smooth. And I will give credit where credit's due, and this does lock up great. For a cheap liner lock, I'm actually pretty surprised. Like I said, spine whack test a bunch of times, didn't change anything, locks up every single time I do open it fully. There's no blade play up and down, so it's very solid. But that's kind of where the pros pretty much end on here. The cons kick in, okay? So yeah, it opens up and locks real nice. But first of all, we have a very thin, slender blade and a high grind on this, all right? So even if it were sharp, which it's not, brand new out of the box is not sharp. In fact, here's some of my cutting I tried. This is not, it's brand new, guys. All right, this is not a knife. This particular type of knife is not a knife I need to carry around to do a review for you guys. All right, I'm very familiar with these style knives. Brand new out of the box. There's your edge. All right, if you really hold this paper sturdy and cut close to your fingers, you might be able to get it to start to cut. but even then it tears. It's not a clean cut. All right, so it's not very sharp out of the box. They never are. All right, also we have a Tanto Tip here, and it's very dull right out of the box. You know, it's supposed to be a lot pointier to be effective. Will it stab through things? Sure, it's a piece of metal with a crude edge. Okay, so we'll poke through things, but not very effectively. All right, I mean, I've got something that's almost brand new. I only use it a little bit for this review. So you get a dull edge, a dull point on this. Of course, combo edge, the serrations are horrific. They're dull out of the box. Not just dull, I mean, they do not slice through anything. You can see it just wants to grab that cardboard. Does not want to slice for anything. It's actually quite dangerous to use, so I wouldn't recommend it. Not only that, but once they do dull, you'll never get them sharp again. These points will literally bend over and they'll look really funky for you. You can see the blade steel is marked on here, 440 SS. So they're telling you it's a 440 stainless. What is it? I have no idea. If I had to guess, maybe a 440A that's improperly heat treated or just not done very well. But there's no edge retention. It doesn't start sharp, and if you do try to sharpen it, it will not hold. Okay, that's the problem with these types of knives. Also, you know, like I said, very heavy. You have chunky handles, unnecessarily large handles. Very comfortable where the thumb rest is. This right here, you know, and the finger twirl, very comfortable. And, you know, specifically here, feels really good. The problem is you get a bad hot spot with that pocket clip on the back. Digs right into the hands. And same thing on reverse grip, digs in the front of the fingers. The pocket clip is very, very stiff, almost unusable. It's very uncomfortable to use, and it's right on this heavy metal knurling. So it's going to want to rip up your pocket as well. So, you know, not an effective design, not my preferred design for a pocket clip. Has a little glass breaker on the back, which is very functional. This would and does work. Okay, so this is probably the best bet for this particular tool, is to use it as a glass punch. Like I said, I mean, you got a knife blade that doesn't want to hold an edge, doesn't want to take an edge, and when you get it brand new, it's not sharp. So there's not a whole lot to work with here. I mean, you know, what's contributing to all the weight here are the full aluminum scales here, thick, chunky aluminum scales. You can see it's fully lined, and there's no drilling at all. So solid liners, solid scales. It's all metal. I mean, it's a heavy hunk of metal. It does want to stay open and lock open for you, but I don't know what you're going to do with that blade. It's not going to perform at all. So it's got some things going for it, which is good, but at the end of the day, if it's not going to cut or hold an edge, what do you want it for, you know? So definitely not recommended by myself. It's not, I would stay away from this one. They get about $20 on Amazon. You could find it under the Walther name, or you can look up BlackTac Tanto on Google. You know, I've only seen them on Amazon so far, but for 20 bucks, you guys know there's a lot of stuff out there. Obviously, the whole bird series from Spyderco, you're going to do a lot better with that. Even some of these, if you want a heavier, chunkier, hardcore use knife, you know, go with one of the new Straight models. You know, I mean, this thing locks up nicely, and you do have a usable edge. Okay, so if you're into a kind of a somewhat overbuilt, cheap, affordable Tanto type knife, you're much better off with a 301 or something similar than this. All right, so that's my recommendation. I would stay away from this particular knife. It doesn't look half bad. It's not going to perform for you at all. The only thing this knife has going for it is that the cheap liner lock actually works properly, and the finger twirl and thumb ramp on the back is comfortable. Besides that, there's nothing else I like on this knife, except for maybe the glass breaker. But even glass breakers on knives, to me, somewhat gimmicky. I like them. They're cool. I don't buy a knife because it has that, but it's kind of a bonus. I mean, it's empty real estate down there anyway, so I don't see why not. If you have a decent knife, you could throw it on there. It's not going to hurt anything. But that's pretty much what I would use this knife for, is a good glass breaker. You know, and maybe something to use to scrape. You know, you don't want to use your good knife. You can use something like this to scrape glue off glass or who knows what. Or get into those boxes that are super gooey and nasty. But don't expect anything from this knife at all. It's not going to perform for you. So unfortunately, it is a poor knife. That's why I got a poor review. But yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles. Not all good out there. So that's it. That's the Walther BlackTac Tanto. So thanks for watching, guys. We have a great day, and I will see you soon. Take care.